Hey guys, Zen here, and today we're getting into 5 huge updates for Rainbow Six Siege. Guys, today there's a lot of news to get to, and I'm always here to bring you those Rainbow Six Siege updates fresh and ready, something like a fresh piece of chicken. And trust me, we'll definitely get more into that later. But I'm glad you made it, guys. Let's dive in. Number 1 here on our list is the most controversial of the bunch, and honestly, it's time for us to bring more light to it here, because based off of my notifications, this problem is huge. So, Ubisoft have finally addressed the rampant DDoSing issue across the board in Rainbow Six Siege. Now, for those of you just joining us, since the release of the latest season with Operation Ember Rise, the amount of DDoS attacks that have been plaguing the game have been massive. To put it blunt, the feedback I've been hearing, especially from those of you over on console, is that 8 or even 9 out of every 10 games either ends or is interrupted by a DDoS attack. And guys, that simply is not okay. Really, it just makes the game unplayable, considering this is a multiplayer only game. And so Ubisoft, along with some of their partners at Microsoft, in addition to their legal team, have outlined somewhat of a roadmap that I wanted to detail for you now. They open up by saying, "We have monitored an increase in the amount of DDoS and DOS attacks against our servers following the release of Operation Ember Rise." Then they detail the next steps. First, a ban wave. Of course, the most serious offenders have already been uncovered, and those players will take on a ban. The fact these players are getting banned is great. Obviously, less DDoSing across the board, but what we don't know is the length and how long these accounts will remain offline. I would say for the absolute worst offenders, those that constantly do this lobby after lobby, yeah, a permaban could be in order. But as we'll learn here soon, that isn't the only course of action here. Next, a couple of player-facing changes, with the first being to reduce the amount of matches per server from 3 to just 1. This is actually a big deal, because if you're in a lobby of 10 players that are all doing the right thing, there won't be the potential for you to be DDoSed or kicked out because of the entire server. They say this change will reduce the effect by 66%, but additionally, they'll be disabling the sanction for when you get kicked, so that if you are DDoSed, the game won't read it as if you've left the match and shouldn't sanction you for longer terms. Now, this happens all the time, and it's one of the most frustrating aspects about this system, because it is put in place to be a deterrent so that people actually finish their games, but I've lost a ton of playing time by being hit with this technicality. Then lastly, the most dramatic of the bunch, legal action is being taken, and to some degree has already been taken against some of the bigger server farm companies and websites that do this on a larger scale. Now, again, there is always the chance that an individual could be summoned to court in some really extreme cases, but somehow there's profitable businesses out there that get by DDoSing multiplayer games online. And so if you're the CEO, it might be time to cash out and take a trip. But yeah, honestly, some really serious stuff here, and it seems Ubisoft isn't taking these issues lightly. It's tough standing up in front of your entire community and addressing the tough questions, and what they've come up with, at least from my perspective, should definitely make somewhat of a difference. But what about you guys? Honestly, I know this has been incredibly frustrating, but does this sound like enough? Let us know your thoughts down below. Second up, for those of you who've been living under a rock, both Goyo and Amaru are now available to everyone. And yeah, guys, I know we basically covered everything about them at this point, but every new season I get asked which operator should be unlocked first, and with these two, it's been a little challenging to recommend. Goyo is the obvious pick for me because his loadout options are just amazing, but his gadget requires some healthy map knowledge to be effective with, and on top of that, he can actually hurt your team in some situations. So again, if you're new, he might not be the pick, but otherwise, I believe his pick grade will definitely be much higher in ranked this season. Now, Amaru is kind of like Alibi for me, where right now, at launch, we just don't understand everything she can do. I've had some moments where I've gotten out of a really bad situation with her, and when it works, it's just perfect. Originally, I thought going up through hatches was the play, but honestly, there just hasn't been that time for me yet, and I'm finding the more open maps like Coastline are really where she feels great. But if you need the chance to try them out before you put your rank on the line, take them both into the new Unranked playlist and collect the challenge that guarantees you an epic alpha pack. All you gotta do is take 3 W's, guys. You got this. Next up, we have one of the strangest mixtures we've ever displayed here in an episode, but we're talking fried chicken, or essentially the mecca for it, because KFC have released a small trailer about none other than our very own Rainbow Six Siege. So let's check it out. So guys, all jokes aside, if you're wondering where this came from, KFC put up a poll asking gamers their favorite game, and Rainbow Six Siege took the crown. So apparently there's going to be something big in wake of our loyalty, and we'll find out more very, very soon here. But guys, you know, when you make videos and do this kind of thing on YouTube, you never really know what you're going to get into. But I can honestly say I've never imagined, ever, that I'd be essentially reporting on fried chicken and discussing Rainbow Six Siege. And somehow, I love it. Let's carry on. Number 4 on the list are some brand new patch notes. Let's get into this. So the Year 4 Season 3.1 notes just went live, and it's made it so that Goyo will no longer have an effect on the hostage with the Vulcan shield. I'm sure many fair games were won that way. And speaking of fairness, the reverse friendly fire has now been expanded to squads. So if more than one player damages the same player, reverse friendly fire will be turned on for the squad. So no longer can you take turns killing teammates. Now, as a community, we typically kill the cheater, right? If someone is found to be a cheater, the team takes turns and tries to play a semi-fair game. But now, that's not really the case. And yes, I could imagine some of you finding issue with this because of not being able to punish the cheater, but guys, that's not really our purpose, and killing teammates on purpose never looks good on your account. Otherwise, this is to protect these solo queuers from squads who just want to mess with the odd one out, and it's a smart move. Finally, here at the number 5 slot, we have the Mira Elite. Now, obviously, this has been out since the launch of Ember Rise, but in this video, I wanted to quickly talk lore because for Mira, it's quite endearing. I was 2 years old when Papa first took me to the museum. I asked to visit my Yaya so often that we went every Friday, rain or shine. I think it helped him to get me out of the garage. But as I grew up, those visits became less and less important. The death toll of war never tells the whole story. It says nothing of the casualties that occur after the treaties are signed. Bad habits, old wounds, memories, these kill so much more slowly. We can never understand, but we can remember, and maybe, God willing, we can keep such a tragedy from ever happening again. So for those of you who don't know, the Inspiración Elite is based off of Mira's grandmother and specifically remembering her. Some pretty heavy stuff. Yeah, I know guys. Zen, stop being so sappy, but what can I say? I've got a soft spot, gentlemen. But that's it, guys. 5 updates for Rainbow Six Siege, and I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts. Is Ubisoft doing enough about the DDoSing issue here in the game? And have you picked up the Mira Elite? Leave it all in a comment down below. If you did enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe with notifications if you're new. With all that being said, guys, it's been Zen. Hey, I'm out.